It's time to review the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I've been using extensively over the past week, and I wanted to make a video that encompasses all the information in one video. Let's get right into what's in the box, which is nothing special and nothing very different to the previous years. We're going to get the Switch console itself, 2 Joy-Cons, some rails for those Joy-Cons, an HDMI cable, a power cable that is AC to USB-C, so you can use this to also charge your phone and stuff. And then we're going to get the new dock. Now, the dock itself has been completely revamped. It has a fan inside to keep the Switch cool and keep itself cool. That way it doesn't generate too much heat, especially since now it can do 4K 60 frames per second on a TV. As far as setup goes, it's pretty straightforward. Old Switches, if you're transferring over, are going to have a new setting in system settings that says transfer to Nintendo Switch 2. It might prompt you to update your current Switch, but once you do that, you'll update your new Switch and then it's going to transfer absolutely everything over. Now it's going to transfer all the information and all the game saves. It's not going to transfer some of the games itself, so you're going to have to re-download those in some cases. Now Nintendo has introduced this whole new idea of game cards, and that it's very interesting. There's like these digital game cards, like you can imagine. Instead, now you have a game that's a card actually in the cloud and you can move them between devices, etc. But one thing that you want to do on day one is actually go through all your game cards that you already own, put them in the Switch, see if they have an update. If they do, update it and then take it out. You can just let it update even if you take it out, and then do the next one and so on, because I had a lot that required updates. I definitely don't want to run into, when I want to play one of these, to have to update it. So go through, update absolutely everything on day one, day two. That way you never have to worry about these again. Now right away, how does this Switch 2 feel? Well, I have slightly larger hands, and so to me it feels just fine. It actually feels a little bit awkward compared to the Switch OLED. I think the Switch OLED was the perfect size for me for like something portable like this, and then the next step up from that would be the Steam Deck right now. And I think the Steam Deck, in terms of ergonomics and feel, is just the king right now of handheld. Like nothing is beating that. And now that the Switch 2 is almost kind of a Steam Deck size, my hands kind of want to feel that kind of better grip and better thumbsticks and all that, and they don't quite feel it. So as it stands, the Switch 2 feels a little bit awkward. However, what really makes up for it is that the screen is very vibrant and large, and so it's very immersive. You really feel more in the game with such a large screen. Even though it's not OLED and it doesn't have those colors that are as punchy or as nice, it is still a very nice display. And I will say that it has a lot better white colors than my OLED. Like my OLED and the white theme didn't look really good. It looked very yellowy, and Nintendo doesn't let you tweak that. But here in the LCD, it just looks so fantastic that I actually kind of prefer this over the OLED, because the whites are truly white versus not. Like I think I prefer truly white whites to truly black blacks from the OLED, because there's so many scenes with actually white colors, especially just apps in the home screen and stuff. That's why on the OLED I always had the black theme, because it just looked so much better with the black theme than the white theme. Now in terms of protection, I do want to thank our sponsors for today's video, TomTalk. Now here we have the slim carrying case and the sling for the Nintendo Switch 2, both which are fantastic for the Nintendo Switch 2. The slim carrying case is exactly what it sounds like. It's a very slim carrying case. It has some extra space inside in case you have a case on this or some maybe grips behind it, so that's kind of nice. It also does have a game card holder, which is nicely lined with like a microfiber. Everything feels very nice and premium, and of course it's very slim as well. All the zippers and everything close very nicely. The handle at the top is actually removable, and then you can use it as a wrist strap, which is also a really cool detail. And on the sling, if you want to take this out and about, maybe on a train or something, and put some gadgets and stuff in there, this is actually fantastic. You can fit the Switch. I was able to even fit some headphones. You can fit like up to 8 games or so. You could even throw a camera in here for the day, a power bank, the cable to charge it. Like you can fit quite a bit of stuff in here, and it just looks super cool. The zippers are nice and large. The axis opens wide so that you can just quickly grab whatever you need, and of course you can easily sling it around your back and just carry it. So make sure to check out these 2 products and more down below in the description, and thanks to TomTalk for sponsoring this video. Now, of course, the controllers detach, they're magnetic completely, like there is no physical lock on these. If you just pull them from the bottom quite hard, they'll come off. So if 2 siblings are fighting for this console and pulling them from the controllers, one of them is going to win. The buttons that are on the back to detach the controllers are just little push pins to break the magnetic connection. They're not releasing anything or anything. So these are truly actually just magnetic attachments to the console, but they are very, very sturdy. Like you can hold it and it's not gonna fall. I'm not gonna shake it violently or anything, but it is really good. They're sturdy. The actual console itself also feels very sturdy. Like it doesn't feel like the controllers are removable. Like on my OLED, this controllers would definitely like squeak a little bit and kind of turn a little bit if you grab the console a little bit too hard and stuff, but on this one it does not. Oddly enough, when I tested it out on my original Switch, that one also was very sturdy, so it's just my OLED for some reason. Now, two things that you can do is go into settings and turn on the burn-in reduction, and I think that's from the OLED display, but heck, why not just turn it on here in case. And you can also set the battery level to charge max to 90% just to preserve battery life over time, and that doesn't hurt either. Just turn it off if you want to charge to 100%. Now, if you have multiple profiles while you're setting it up and downloading things, you might want to go ahead through the user selection screen and make it so that it doesn't prompt you every time what user you want to select, because it was driving me crazy, just as a little tip. So why should you get the Nintendo Switch 2? Well, really the main thing that I can really see here is two cases. One, you're buying this for a couple siblings that are going to share the console and they want to play like on tabletop mode or in the car or something, and so the larger screen is nice. But the main scenario really is that if you have already a lot of Switch games that you play, you might have noticed that a lot of them have very bad graphics or look really bad, or they get janky at times and they're just not very enjoyable to play. Like I had been playing through Pokemon Violet recently, and there's just some scenes that look so bad, but then you load it up on the Switch 2 and things actually look okay most of the time, or actually kind of nice most of the time. And that for me personally is a big enough reason to upgrade, because I can actually enjoy the games that I've already spent a ton of money on buying that I didn't finish. So now I have more of a reason to go back to Zelda and finish that. Like Link's Awakening was really bad. I didn't keep playing it because the graphics just, ugh. There's just a lot of games that I stopped playing because things just didn't look great. And on this, they actually do look great, especially on a 4K TV. Things just actually look sharp. Like even just the home screen looks really good on a TV now. There really is no point in comparing this to a PS5 and Xbox. It's no point. Nintendo's always been Nintendo. It's gonna keep being Nintendo. They don't have to fight on a graphics level. They have the IP, and that's very important. If I want to play Overwatch on this still sucks. I'm going to play it on Xbox, on PC. I'm not going to play it on here unless they update it a lot. But even just the thumbsticks are horrible to play FPS. So let's move on to the things that so far I really don't like. And again, I just mentioned it, the thumbsticks. The thumbsticks still just need some proper thumbsticks on this, like the ones on the Pro controller at least. It would be just really nice to have that. These just still don't feel good. I'm gonna have to put some extra pads on top to kind of increase the height a little bit and make them more comfortable. I'm also not the biggest fan of going back to having bezels after not having really much of a bezel on the OLED. It's not the biggest thing, but just kind of, you know, it's obvious that Nintendo's doing it to then sell us the Switch to OLED, which not the biggest fan of that. And lastly, UI, still horrendous. Like Nintendo really needs to give us a proper update. It is just crazy that I still don't have proper game organization, that things just aren't easy to find. It's just the most convoluted, simple software that exists is this. Like it's horrible, I hate it. Now for some little pros that I actually have liked a lot. I do actually like how the Joy-Cons detach. I think it's very simple, very easy. It's not as iconic and as fun, but it's just simple. The kickstand is also really nice. It feels very, very sturdy, and compared to the previous generations, like this actually feels like almost something like a Surface or something. And I gotta say, I also love the USB-C port on the top that you can also charge the console with or connect the camera to. It just is nice to be able to charge it from the top finally. Now this new Switch 2 does also use a new micro SD card. So if you're getting this console for someone as a gift, you actually don't need to buy them the SD card. They'll probably get them themselves at some point, because the console comes with 256 gigs of storage, which is plenty for quite a bit amount of games on the console. And the memory cards right now are around $40 or so for 256 gigs. So it adds quite a cost to the console. However, I bought it right away because I have a huge game library and I don't want to run into anything. So I just put that right before I set it up, and things just kind of like downloaded to wherever they had to download, and that's great. Just worth noting, be careful if you buy a micro SD card, it has to be micro SD Express card. card, okay? Express. Do not buy anything else. It will not work. I also want to mention that the Joy-Con grip that a console comes with is just kind of horrendous. Like, I wish it was actually proper controller size and nice and comfy, but it's not. It's just kind of an afterthought. Like, it's there because it's there and that's it. The rails could also be a little something more if possible. Like, these are a little thin. They don't really add much to the controller. They just seem like they're there for the sake of being there. So who should get the Nintendo Switch? Well, if you already have a huge game library on the original Switches, like the OLED or Switch Lite or anything like that, maybe you do want to experience all these games in slightly better graphics and frames per second and stuff like that. And for me personally, that has been kind of worth it because I wasn't using it as much and enjoying a lot of the games as much because they were so throttled by the previous generations. I almost wonder if this Switch was supposed to release a couple years ago and it didn't, and it was kind of pushed back because a lot of the games that came out in the past couple years just do not run very well on the other Switches, but they run incredibly well on the Switch 2. Aside from that, really, there's not much of a reason to get this. There's not many exclusive games for it. There's nothing particularly unique about it that it's bringing new to the table. And I mean, we have the camera for Mario Party and Mario Kart, but you know, it's kind of a little bit of a gimmick. You can use your own camera. You don't have to buy Nintendo's $55 camera. You can just check if your webcam, just click on it, go to settings, test camera, see if it works. If it works, perfect. You can now use that from time to time if you want that feature or to video chat. But yeah, they're not introducing any new cool thing that's brand new. It's just an iteration, an update to the original Switch. So I would definitely wait for a better bundle with maybe an extra controller or maybe $100 off of this or something come Black Friday, or maybe once the tariffs maybe stop being so high and stuff like that, something to happen for it to not be so expensive. That also means it's actually a really good time to buy a used Switch OLED or any Switch for that matter, because the prices have plummeted drastically. And so if you want one, maybe it's a good time to get one because the screen on the Switch OLED is fantastic. If you have an original Switch, the Switch OLED is a fantastic upgrade and it's just really good. I've really enjoyed using that console. It just sucks that some of the newer games just kind of bog down like they do. I definitely, if you have a kid, I wouldn't really get them the Switch 2. I think they'd be perfectly happy with one of the original Switches. However, of course, kids always want kind of the latest hype stuff, and so maybe they wouldn't even be satisfied with a Switch 1 or a Switch OLED, but you know, worth noting that that would be a great gift and it's not worth shelling out almost $600 for this thing right here. So that's the Switch 2. Hopefully I kind of went over really everything that there is to talk about this console. It's an upgrade, you know, it's an update. It's nothing new, crazy, right? The Switch was so crazy cool when it first came out. It was such a leap in terms of like, you know, being able to dock this thing that you walk around with was so nice that it's going to be hard to beat that for some time. Hopefully we start getting some competitors. Maybe PlayStation will give us a PlayStation Portable again. Xbox will do something because that'll really spice up the game a little bit more. Maybe make Nintendo do some maybe more fun stuff, crazier stuff, or really make some drastic improvements over time. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.